finalizing look inside of week of sports as it's known to the fans. All other sports shows are just buckets, but this is Game Point, and I am that mouthy mofo from the Midwest, Ted Grams.
Live and direct. It's Dash and Connect, man. What's going on?
Pops in the house.
Man, Pops, man, they said you got to talk a little more, man. You all right, man? You got a lot of energy?
Yeah, I'm good today, fellas. Ready to take you young boys on as usual.
Well, man, it's a good time of the year for you, man. Baseball just started. You got to see your Indians, man. They had a tough loss after Kluber pitched a great game. You know, no hitting from the team, man. What was your reactions to the opening day?
Well, we just didn't hit that day. I think I don't know if our offense will be as good as last year's. Losing Santana with his on base percentage, I don't know. We might have a little trouble offensively right now. Brantley's not in the lineup, and we're a little left-handed heavy, like I said last week. So that might be a concern. But it's early. The Dodgers, they've gone 18 innings without scoring a run, and they were in the World Series last year. But my Indians going to win about 90, 95 games. They got that pitching staff. Bullpen might be a little trouble too, because they're losing with them losing Brian Shaw, who used to be the whipping boy here for 3 years, but he used to come in and give them 70, 75 innings every year, and that might be a little trouble too. But it's gonna be interesting. But I think that with that pitching staff and Tito Francona, they're gonna be Terry Francona, they're gonna be a team to be heard from, and they'll be okay.
Chris, was you able to watch any baseball, man?
I've been meaning to tune in. I definitely missed the opener yesterday, but I heard the Indians took a tough L, man. We got to get on that board a little more, get that offense cranking. But I fully expect the bats to heat up, as the season progresses. And, we've kind of seen that that's, something you can count on in MLB. So, no, I'm not worried about the home team at all. I'm excited about the prospect, of the season. And another thing, though, I know Vegas Pops kind of, gave it the nod of agreement. I saw Vegas had us winning 95 games. I was just thinking, we was just in the World Series year before last, and playoff team last year. 95 games? What is it? I know it's over 160 games in the major league season, right? That just don't... Is that a great team, Pops? Is that a good team?
Yeah, when you get those mid-90s, you're doing something. Between 9, like last year they won 102.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That century mark to me was more. So I just felt like they kind of expected us to take a step backwards. Is that how you feel, or?
Well, remember we won 22 in a row last year, so 95 is a good number. 95 is a good number. You can get between 95 and 100. You've had a hell of a year. Generally, the best teams in baseball, that's where they are, between 95 and 100 wins come the end of the season. And that wouldn't be a bad year. That should guarantee you the Central Division and guarantee you a playoff spot. But
I'm saying, do we really
right.
have a shot? So as long as we could, if we ultimately win the division and make it to the playoffs, are we playing for the World Series at that point? Like, are we a team who's a legitimate threat to win, or do we got to kind of wait till we get to that point and kind of just see the way that we playing? Because I know this is a tempo game in the morale game and momentum game. So I know it's about who gets hot at the right time. But I'm just asking, from the casual fan standpoint, are the Indians, are we still in the running? Are we still playing for a World Series? Are we still a team that could potentially win a championship, win it all, or have we taken a step back? Because I know personnel has changed and switched up a little bit. We took some losses, so.
Well, I think we definitely can make a run at the playoffs and maybe a world championship. Still got those big three pitchers, and I expect Trevor Bauer to step up. He's been another whipping boy here, but I expect him to step up and have a big year.
You keep saying that, whipping boy, school me a little bit. What exactly does that mean?
Well, with Brian Shaw, I think he was underappreciated here. Anytime he'd blow a save or blow a game, all the fans would be on him. But he was a guy that constantly gave you those come around the sixth inning. He'd give you those 2 innings. He could give you 2 innings. Never turn the ball down. His arm was durable, never got hurt. And I think he was an important part of this bullpen here, what the bullpen has done these last 2 or 3 years.
It's kind of like your guy who do the dirty work on the pitching side. You know what I'm saying?
And that was that guy. But they knock him here if he'd have a bad game or two, and you could just hear the fans either calling the talk shows or, in the lunchroom just killing him all the time. But I think he was very important to what we did here. And I think most people recognize that. He just, he ate up a lot of innings. But in Trevor Bauer, the same way, he's got those idiosyncrasies where, he's flying gadget planes or whatever he's doing. And, he's just been a guy that's, taking some flack here. But I think this is a year he steps up and he becomes a big winner for this team. So with those three, with Carrasco, Bauer, and Kluber, I think you got a chance to do something big here, because I think those three can match up with anybody in baseball when they're right. And if, injuries, of course, are a big factor. But with those three, you got a chance to do some big things.
Is Andrew Miller still one of the best closers in baseball?
Well, he's not. Well, he, it depends on how they use him, but he's still one of the best relievers in baseball. The key with Andrew, he can give you 1, he can give you 2 innings. He can come in the middle of a game and shut things down when the other team is hot. And he's one of the best. And the other guy, Cody Allen, rather, he's kind of somewhat underrated. He's not really a lockdown closer. He's a shaky, but he's a guy who's durable, and he's been unbelievable in the playoffs. He hasn't given up many runs in the playoffs. So with those two, man, in that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, you got a chance, much like the Yankees bullpen, who they've got 3 guys that can lock you down, and that's what makes them real dangerous, because you turn the game into a 6-inning game.
Is it too early to say that during the trade deadline, are we gonna make a move for another bullpen guy or another starter, or we cool with the guys we got?
I would think by that time you might need another bat. It depends on how the season plays out, but I would think that come July, August, whenever that trade deadline is, they'll probably be looking for another bat and maybe another arm in the bullpen. But I definitely know they're going to need another bat.
Is Michael Brantley healthy right now?
Well, they say he's supposed to be ready by opening day, by the home opener, from what the reports I'm hearing.
So now, is Michael Brantley good enough that the Indians, can we afford to wait on his constant recovery from injury?
Yeah, no. It's still early. He might miss 5 or 6 games.
Man, let me tell you something right now. No franchise in any sport can afford to have their best player or even one of their best guys or arguably their best guy, always constantly on IR. You know what I'm saying? You can't have that, man. At the end of the day, Stephen A. said it best. The best ability is availability. And I've heard a lot of great things about this guy. And just, kind of from the casual fan standpoint, when I do find myself, with the opportunity to tune in and check out an Indians game, he's never out there. I didn't even know he still played for us. I thought maybe something might have happened to that guy.
Well, he's last 2 or 3 years.
I think it's gonna be big for him. Whenever we do, I think we won't truly break through until our team gets hot with all its pieces going, and I think Bradley is a big part of that.
Yeah, but you're talking about a week from yesterday that he's supposed to be on the field? It's not too bad.
He came back last year and got hurt again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's about the injury proneness. Yeah. It's not necessarily this.
Well, you got several guys that have been injury prone. Lonnie Chisenhall, he can't stay on the field. I mean, some other guys.
Those guys aren't our best guys.
No, Chisenhall's a starting right fielder. And he was having a big year last year before he got hurt.
Kipnis got hurt last year.
Yeah, and Kipnis got hurt. Kipnis seems like he's been hurt every other year. So, yeah, of course, injuries are a factor.
But I guess the thing for me is Brantley hasn't been here these last 2 years that we made the run. We kind of did it without him.
And he's supposed to be our best guy. Obviously, Francisco Lindor chomping at the bit crazy for that right in that title. And I think, like I said, off availability alone, he's kind of taking up that mantle. City definitely recognizing him as that. But he's somebody I would love to see those guys play more alongside each other, especially on the deep run in the playoffs. And I just think that's the city craving that.
Well, without question. Brantley's health has been a question. He's in a contract year, so I'm sure he's going to try to be out there as much as possible. That's key, Chris, because he hasn't shown he can be out there.
We're with these young guys coming of age and starting to get in line to get some real money, is a guy like Bradley, having been so unavailable and injury prone, is he worth the large investment in? Obviously, Francisco and Lindor is a guy who's in line to get some very handsome checks coming up here soon. I mean, how do we play that as you see things right now? Obviously, it's a season to be played, and a lot of things are going to happen between now and then. But where do we as the franchise sit if, you were running things in that front office? If you were Frank Conan, what is it that you're thinking about, these young guys, these young talent that you've got, and what's the priority and who's the priority in terms of retaining them?
Well, of course, with Francisco, that's going to be a interesting situation because he's a guy that's probably going to look at big money. And when I say big money, you're talking about 25, 30 a year. Eventually, they haven't been able to sign him yet like these other young players. That's going to be an interesting thing. But he's probably, still 3 years away from free agency, so maybe they'll get something done with him. Of course, I'd like to lock him up for about 6 or 7 years if we could, but that bears watching. As far as Brantley and Chisenhall, I think both of their contracts are up. And you have to remember, so are Cody Allen and Andrew Miller's contracts up at the end of this year. Brantley's I think he'll be in his early 30s next year. It depends on what kind of year he has. Now, I'm not going to tie up no major money in him, but it depends on what's coming down the pipeline, too. Of course, you got the young kid, Mahita, who, from what I understand, has been taking some turns in left field. So I don't know if he's ready next year. You might have to let Brantley go, but it's going to be interesting. We'll see. But the key is Francisco.
If we don't get it done this year, I'm talking about the Cleveland Indians. Is our gap closed?
No.
As far as winning the World Series, or we still got a couple years?
No, I think we still got a couple years because you still got those 3 pitchers locked up. You're gonna have to tighten up that bullpen because, like I said, Miller and Allen are both free agents, and we haven't retained free agents in the past few years. So that's gonna be very interesting. If you can bring back Miller, Allen, or both, and it depends on the attendance too. I think Antonetti has gone on record as saying, "Hey, our ability to pay these guys is based on attendance." So, if the fans get down there and support them.
What a cool way to flip the script.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's just the reality of the
these
situation.
These fat cats, man. Yeah, right. I'm sure it is. Whatever.
The more people go down there, the more they'll spend. So it's going to be very interesting. And I don't know what kind of pitching they have in the pipeline as far as closing and those 6th, 7th, and 8th inning guys. We'll see. But it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, definitely going to be watching that closely this year.
Yeah.
In particular, I want everybody to get on board with me, really supporting, these Cleveland Indians. I think they kind of like the last of the Holy Trinity here in the Cleveland sports fandom. Obviously, we definitely support them, and then, we were in that World Series. But I really want to throw everything behind my home teams this year, here in Cleveland, and give them everything. And I think Cleveland Indians, those ones, it's a lot of people kind of sitting the fence, like we talked about before, kind of like the tempo of the game. But definitely tuning in big time for those Cleveland Indians this year. I want everybody to get on board with me with that. That's for sure.
I thought you was a football guy, Chris.
I mean, I'm a football guy, but I also told you that, I'm no baseball savant, but I'm trying to expand on my knowledge and my learning of the sport. You know what I'm saying? I'm a student, first and foremost, Pops. You know what I'm saying? I've been schooled by you a many a time. You know what I'm saying? How you think I come to know all these things? You understand? It's not what a man knows, but what he can learn. You know what
all right, man. Yeah, because I got to get you off that Browns bandwagon. And get you on that Indians bandwagon.
That's a new thing, but, man, shout out my city, man. Love my city. Love them Browns, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about the dog pound. Yeah, speaking of those Browns.
Those 0-16 Browns, by the way, Chris.
And that was last year, man. We
right.
off for that.
Like, last time we checked, we 0-0, man. It's a new season. And anything is possible. But speaking of an interesting week, off week for it to be the off season. For the NFL, some rule changes got implemented. What are very controversial rule changes to exactly what is a catch and how that's going to be constituted. And next year's gameplay, obviously, were a plethora of controversial plays, both in the Super Bowl as well as in the playoffs leading up to, and have been for the last few years. It's usually been one play or another once you get to a certain point in the playoffs. That causes a lot of controversy and definitely plays some tricks on the eye. What did you all think about the measures taken yesterday and in this week in sports, rather, about changing the rules. What is a catch in the NFL? You think they solve things or?
Well, I don't know if they solve things, but my question is this: when did it become so controversial? When did this? I mean,
when you can start watching it in slow motion 1,000 times.
Is that what it was?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Because a catch is a catch, and a non-catch should be a non-catch. Oh my God!
I used to just always feel like a catch when you see one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If the ball gets loose, to me, as long as the ball is not loose or you don't see a whole bunch of movement, we don't have to watch every catch a bunch of times because the whole thing is in the course of this game, this is a violent game played at extremely high speeds. It's a lot going on. When you're allowed to notice every little single detail, it draws so many things into question.
So it was the implementation of replay that caused all this controversy?
I do. I think that's a big part of it. You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, but I think there were some bad calls in the past, and instead of the league owning them and the officials owning them as bad calls, they kind of tried to, excuse those bad calls and give all these reasons why, they felt like it was the right call instead of just calling it, what it was. And I'm referring to, like I said, any number. The Calvin Johnson call was first and foremost. Then it was the Dez Bryant catch a few years after that or a year later. So, I mean, we know the big plays. Obviously, Jesse James had a catch this year in the playoffs. So, I mean, we know
before the playoffs.
Or before the playoffs, rather, right.
And it kind of gave New England that home field advantage.
Right,
in the playoffs.
Exactly. The big deciding factor leading into the playoffs. So
how long? So the catch controversy when the catch became controversial when last 5 years.
Yeah, the Calvin Johnson happened in 2010.
Started it right. 2010.
He made that catch, and everybody when you see it on camera, it looks like a catch.
Mm-hmm.
They go back, they look at the camera, and they say it's no catch. Now when you got a million people watching it from home, like it's a catch, it's a catch, it's a catch. You got sportscasters the next day, it's a catch, it's a catch, it's a catch. But, you got these guys who's looking, the umpires, or the referees looking at it and say it's not a catch. And then, like you said, Bryant.
What was the ruling on the field? It was ruled a no catch?
It was reviewed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like maybe it might have been called a touchdown initially, but it was reviewed. And ultimately, I know that upon being reviewed, they did end up changing it for it to not be a touchdown. And that changed the outcome of that game and, the outcome, the trajectory of that season for both teams.
So this catch stuff controversy has been going on for about 7 years, is what you're telling me?
Yeah. Better part of a decade for sure. But like more onto the actual changes that occurred.
Does it even fix anything?
Well, let's let them know exactly what those changes are. Right now, a lot about a catcher having to not just catch the ball, but kind of endure the danger of the ground and the hit of the ground, impact of the ground, and maintain control of the ball through a catch and through the coming of the ground or the grounding after a catch. And what that means is, usually, keeping the ball from touching the ground, and then keeping the ball from moving around. You want limited motion on the ball as it's kind of like in your possession and as you go through a grounding or hitting the ground after a catch. Now that's kind of changed to where now a player no longer has to survive the ground or, kind of keep that pristine possession of the ball through the grounding of a catch. But now a football move, perceived football move now has to be made after any catch to kind of solidify it as an actual catch. And obviously you can kind of hear from the way I presented that to you what the new issue is going to be now. No longer, okay, was it a catch? Was possession maintained through the grounding or the falling of the ground on the catch? But rather, what is a football move, and if one was in fact made on any given play or any given catch, rather.
I don't know how well you remember the Jesse James catch, but would that be considered a football move, extending the football into the end zone?
I mean, absolutely, and to me, that was a lot of what made the Dez Bryant play and controversial catch a touchdown. I felt like he extended the ball as well, but to me that's something now that you just, I mean, being coached up as a young kid always was told, that's not something that you do. Obviously, that's big time, you know what I'm saying, and those are the plays and those are the maneuvers, mastering things like that over your career. That's the stuff that'll get you, in the top 10, and that'll get you D1 scholarships and stuff like that. But at the same time, that's not what you coach to do. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those maneuvers. It can go south for you in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's not something that's go to. You know, you got to know that's when you going for the gusto.
Has the implementation of technology, in you guys' opinion, has it improved refereeing? Has it helped? Has it hurt?
I think in some instances, but like anything else, it's all about balance. I think they've oversaturated official in sports and referee in sports with the use of technology, you know what I'm saying, with the endless instant replay and, you know, the deliberate review of, you know, every single play or so many plays. Like I say, I think, you know, the opportunity to use it when you have a resource like that now, it becomes when do you use it. And I think so often it's overused. It's just overused.
Are they getting more things right?
And and that's the thing. No, I don't think so. And me and Des kind of discussed this earlier. I think at the end of the day, there's no amount of technology that are going to be able to get every call right. Refs are going to get calls wrong. Real sports fans and athletes especially know this is part of the game. It's expected and it has to be prepared for. But what you do is now, once you've got that established, is you clean up the game, as much as you can within good reason. And now after that, you start trying to protect the integrity of the flow of the game.
So they aren't getting more things right nowadays?
I think in certain instances, yeah, they are. Like, if a guy steps out of bounds.
I'm saying is I feel like it's just as much controversy, or it can be perceived to be just as much controversy and or miscalls now as there ever were in the past. Like, do you feel like it's anywhere near a perfect game, or it's only a few missed calls like in the NFL?
No.
Absolutely not. So, and then like they say, you could call holding on any given play in the NFL. Is that still not a mantra that holds true? Absolutely. Instant replay hasn't changed all that, because at the end of the day, it's a physical game, and anytime one man's will comes against another man's will in opposing goals, extra things are going to be done. You know what I'm saying? You ruin the game. You ruin the integrity of the game, the flow of the game, by trying to call everything. So you don't even want to call everything, but you want to get the big things.
Has it hurt more getting calls wrong, or has it hurt more the flow of the game, or both?
I think it's hurt more getting calls wrong, because at the end of the day, yeah, sure, everybody wants a game that is fluid and coherent and all of that good stuff and has great pace, absolutely. But that's from an entertainment standpoint. But like I say, if the fact is, at least for me, yeah, if we delay the game 6, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and wash it down with a bunch of commercials and ad time, yeah, that sucks. But if we get the call right at the end of the day and preserve the integrity of the game, then to me that's a necessary evil.
So what are you saying, Chris? Technology gets a lot of calls wrong? Is that what you're saying?
I think it's created an overanalyzation of the game and an overanalyzation of how things occur in the game. Like this is a game in motion. The ball is in motion. Even once you catch it, this is a game in motion. These are men in motion. This is a violent game being played at high speeds. I think it's created an overanalyzation, and we've become too critical of the small nuances and details, because it allows us to see them. Ultimately, back in the 90s and the 80s, the game used to be bang bang, and you kind of let your eye didn't tell you any lies. You know what I'm saying? And we kind of let the eye test serve. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is, and that's what I think that catch, this whole catch rule, we making it completely overcomplicated.
Okay, let me ask you this. What is the perception of the owners, the front offices, and the players on those same topics? Are they unified in their opinion of what technology has done for the game? Are they frustrated by it, or do they say, like, do the players feel one way, they're missing too many calls? Does management feel, hey, they're missing too many calls? Does owners feel they're missing too many calls? Where are those three factions on the same questions?
You know what? I think that's
that
something.
You know.
Right, as far as I know, and you can kind of only go off like
I know,
the reactions.
I know you can't speak for them, but
right,
from what you've heard, what are they thinking?
Right, from what I've heard and what I've seen from the fandom, from the perspective of the fandom, and this is kind of like going off of reactions that you kind of see on Twitter when news and things, hits the wire about different changes. And then not only that, but when games are being watched live, whether it be in the playoffs or on Monday nights where other teams and players are able to watch, you oftentimes hear them chime in and speak on it. And I think that at the end of the day, it's kind of split between offensive and defensive players. The way that they see it, they understand. Like I say, when you're an athlete, you understand. None of the calls you're not going to get all the calls. You know what I'm saying? Things aren't going to be right. It's going to be so much lacking, and there's going to be so much loss in officiating that I feel like when you're a player, you can't overly concern yourself with it. I mean, they just want what's going to help them do their job.
But how do they perceive it right now, Chris?
I mean, like I said, I feel like right now, I'm sure
they're making a change. The owners, that's a discussion between the owners and Roger Goodell. So they've made the change.
The owners are frustrated by it.
I'm not gonna say frustrated, but they all
feel
agree
like
that
they
needed
need
a change.
change, right?
They needed a change.
They're not happy with it.
And the players, even you can see through their tweets and stuff, when they like, oh, that's a catch. Everybody,
right.
Disagree with, some of the calls have been made with officiating. I don't think it's an outcry against the referees as much, as you see in the NBA, where everybody's complaining about the refs. I don't think it's that big of a issue, but it's definitely a problem that they're all on the same page that change needs to happen.
Okay, both the owners and management.
Yeah, when you see a change, make no mistake about what they felt was necessary, because they just don't want to change it. I mean, yeah, they've made a change. It wasn't working.
Now, what do you feel about the other rule as far as like the 15-yard penalty for lowering your head to initiate contact? Now, I know when we was playing football, they taught us, get your head on the football, if you want to make a big play, you put the shoulder on the body, put the head on the football. Now it seems like they're taking that out of the football game. Are we just seeing football just being a totally different game now in 10, 15 years, man? Is it going to be flag football on TV? Are they getting rid of what the essence of football was, and that's the win a football game? I just don't understand some of these rule changes, but what's your opinion on the lowering your head?
I almost feel like some of the rule changes, they kind of go against the nature of the game. But, that lowering your head, I think it's been kind of proven. It's film out there that showed you there are guys out there making big plays, big hits, with form-fitted tackles that are deemed safe, at least by the, medical prowess that we possess right now. Medical science is saying that these tackles are safe to make, and they're, they aren't detrimental to the body. So, I mean, I feel like there are safe ways to make the big plays and make the big hits as far as dropping your head. So I like this rule change. I think that it ultimately makes the game safer, not just for those who are being hit, but for the hitter as well. Like I say, it's foolish to kind of, keep playing the game the same way. It would speak ill of us, and ill of where the game is going if we were still playing it the exact same way as we come to learn so much more, both in sports and sports medicine. So, I mean, some changes to be expected, and the nature of the game is changing and definitely has changed. But I think it's in an effort to preserve the game and preserve what we love so much, and preserve Sundays and, preserve football on Thanksgiving, and just the spirit and the competitiveness of the sport that we all, grew up loving. I think it's in an effort to preserve that, actually, not to do away with it, but really to try to keep it going. I don't think people, if you look at the game, I don't think people always realize how hard the NFL seems to be to sustain. It's going to be one of the best guys at the quarterback position is going to go down every year.
Question, the safety thing, Chris. Now since you brought that up, and Des, since you brought that up, you guys being ex-football players, do you like the game you see now? I mean, I understand the safety concerns, but do you like the game you see now? Or has it become too soft?
I still enjoy the football on Sunday.
Yeah, I was about to say I definitely still enjoy the game.
It was a fun playoff this year. It was a great Super Bowl this year. It's still a fun sport to watch, even at all levels. College football is still fun to watch. High school football is still fun to watch. It's just the direction they're going. I understand the safety, but it's a nasty game. Chris, I know you spoke on a comment that a football NFL player made about this is what we signed up for. I think we knew the dangers of playing football. From the day you started. And you seen what guys were good at and what guys aren't good at it. Some people got hit their first time and never came back to practice, and that's just part of the game. Some people get hit and they come back and hit you back. It's just part of the game.
So the safety changes haven't bothered you guys at all?
Not enough yet. Not to me.
Yeah, and like I said, I think people love football. People love it as it is. People love the old game. People love the new game with the new changes. People love it, man. And I think the physical conquest portion of it and, the nastiness of it, that's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? The kind of barbaric, Coliseum-like element of it, that's a part of it. So that's not something that I think they're looking to do away with. But like I said, at this point, the game is worth so much. And some of these players are worth so much in the effort to try to sustain them and sustain the season and sustain their product at its highest level. They're pushing a lot of these changes because, it's just shown that, the pawns in the game won't last if you don't.
When you guys played, and then you guys played at the high school level, did you guys have to change the way you approach tackling and blocking? Were those changes, and we're talking, 8, 9 years ago? Did you guys personally have to change the way you played?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Me personally, I went to a lot of camps even outside of, like what's typical during the summer. I went to a lot of different skills camps and things like that on the extracurricular side. And, and that was when the information was kind of really emerging when we were in high school about really getting your head up, giving a guy your face mask. Obviously, you heard kind of mixed things, like, because it would be like 7th and 8th grade. Your coach is telling, get your helmet on the ball, get your nose in there, you know what I'm saying, kind of deliver the wood in a reckless, abandoned type of way. And then, as more information comes out and sports medicine becomes more knowledgeable, you kind of hear the rhetoric change a little bit. And, obviously that a lot of that too is from coach to coach and, what it is that they believe and how it is that they coach players and kind of their principles on hitting and, just what the nature of the game is too. So, I think that's a conversation that kind of changes, from even we see it in the NFL from player to player. Some guys do things. I think who's the guy from Vontaze Burfict from Cincinnati, the linebacker. He's constantly on suspension and facing a bunch of fines. He plays the game a certain way, though. I know a bunch of his peers would say, hey, you know what I'm saying? That's just the game how I always knew it. That's a bad boy. You better watch out for him. And other guys, say, hey, what he's doing out there is against the rule. It's dangerous. It's dirty.
If you guys, both of you guys have children one day, you have sons, would they be allowed to play football?
It's their decisions, but yeah, I would allow them.
Absolutely.
The game picks you, man.
Exactly.
That's sports.
Exactly.
Sports, period, man. The game picks you, man.
And more importantly, and I think in today's society, we trying to make everything so PC and everything okay for everybody.
No hesitation with any of you guys about your kids playing football?
No. But it's not for everybody. So if I had a son who really could play, and even through the high school ranks, if he could really stick with it and be a starter, the game ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's really, really not. Everybody can't play football.
So you don't have any health concerns down the line with your children playing football?
No. Especially not in high school. To me, the longer you play, you might start thinking about it a little bit more. But, if this is somebody, playing in high school, even trying to get a scholarship, he'll pay for his own education. That's something I'm fully down with the pursuit of that. To me, life is dangerous, man. It's something in the air that's no good.
Have you thought about it with your own, even though you guys didn't play that long, have you ever thought about down the road any repercussions from your playing football?
No.
Not one thought?
No.
And I won't until I would have to really have to have a health situation that would make me feel that way. But
well, I wonder about it sometimes when you voice some of your opinions on this show. I wonder if maybe you took a knock or two.
Oh man.
Well, tell me this, and this may be too off topic. And I heard somebody else say this. Well, I don't even
look. He really tickled himself with that one. He really tickled himself with that one.
I wonder sometimes maybe you got a knock or two too much, but just judging by a couple of your opinions on the show. But that's beside the point.
No, listen here, man. I think the listeners will agree that I'm very sharp.
Well, Chris wasn't a heavy hitter. You told to me, in conversations that you remember not knowing as much about concussions as we do now. that he used to have headaches after football games and after practice. So
No, I definitely had a lot more headaches playing football, and it was just kind of something for me. Like, I thought I'm just a person who has headaches, and I did kind of notice, like, when I stopped playing, like, I never have headaches now, ever.
And you don't think about that long term, that it'll have an effect? You've never even thought?
Well,
it hasn't crossed your mind?
I feel like that's kind of like over. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
ain't nothing you can do about it now, right?
No, not even so much like kind of like the damage that will be done has been done, because I'm not continuing to play, like, in any capacity. So, whatever damage that is going to be incurred, like, it's been incurred. Like, I don't expect for it to be any real, like, crazy trauma down the line. I do understand that it is, like, things develop with the brain over time. I do understand that's how the CTE situation works. But like I said, I don't think I incurred that type of damage. I delivered a lot of punishment.
Okay, now
minimal punishment
right
incurred
quick
on my end.
Hey, right quick, and I don't want to belabor the point, but when you hear a Joe Thomas at, what is he, maybe 32 or 33, talk things like memory loss, when he said, "Hey, I go to the grocery store and sometimes I forget what my wife asked me to pick up from the grocery store." What thoughts enter you guys' mind when you hear something like that?
Man, to me that happens, man. When you have a full life, I forget things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was gonna say, Dad, you forget things now.
Yeah, like, everybody forgets things. When you got a whole life and a whole agenda and work and kids and school and bills. And this is a young man, with junior levels of those things. But I can imagine how a 33-year-old man with $1 million estates and, all types of things to handle and manage, and a whole family, bunch of kids and a wife to handle and manage.
But my point was, Chris, he implied that he thought it might have been football related.
Man,
though.
you always will.
It's something
like,
you had to follow, though. It's something interesting to talk about. But, I don't know how severe it is. And I don't want to speak to it too much just because, he could, like I said, I forget things all the time. And, I don't blame it.
Yeah, but
football.
you always have.
Maybe he always has.
Right.
It's just a topic, right now. But if in 5 years, let's see where Joe Thomas is. Hopefully he's on TV, talking sports, and being very coherent.
So when you hear something like that, nothing crosses your mind?
Not this early.
Okay. All right.
It's something that you see down the line. What do you think something happened with OJ? You think what happened back in the day, you think it had something to do with football, or you think he kind of lost his mind?
Who knows with him? Who knows?
I think Orenthal was a man acting out of passion.
Oh, without question. I agree. I agree with that, Chris.
Yeah.
Me and Chris agree on something, y'all.
But what's to say he couldn't have blamed? Let's just say if he did do it, why can't he say, "Hey, I had messed up my, I was a running back. My head was messed up."
Didn't he just come up in the last week or two, say something that was going on with him mentally too? I think he did. Just it was a quote out there.
Can we all acknowledge that some people
it's
people who out here who are just crazy. Some people are crazy.
He did say that something was going on with his. I don't know if it was memory loss or something, but he did say, they all implied it. It might have been football related.
And
that's the implication.
Listen, when you play the game as violent as football, and you got to think ultimately, if you have a full NFL career, we talking about, most of them guys. Start playing at what, 5 or 6 or 7, and you play until you 30-something. That's 20-something years of, pounding, punishment, grueling, abuse, training. So sure, that person thinking that, yes. But for all of you guys who played JV in high school, for those 2 years, you might have 20, 25 games under your belt. No. Nothing is wrong with you.
And one more question. What about physically? You guys are fine physically from your years of playing football? You guys, you don't think physically now and down the road?
Man, I got more injuries from playing basketball
than football.
Which I've never played organized ever. I got more injuries from playing that up at the rec than I have from football. I got hurt one time playing football, high ankle sprain.
I don't have the doctors that the football and professionals got, so I can't tell what my injuries come from. But I had an injury with my shoulder in high school that I played through, and I still have an injury today with my shoulder every once in a while. But
Man, but listen though,
that's just part of life.
Me too though. The doctor said time he told me, doctor, hey man, that's tendonitis. Like nothing you can do.
But Dad, you got a shoulder problem, Daddy. You ain't played football, so it's just like I don't know what it is.
I heard you can get a shoulder problem from the way you sleep.
Yeah.
You can get a shoulder problem. Like if you lay on your arm, it can wear down the cartilage in your shoulder, and you can have a shoulder problem.
I was just curious, exactly what you guys, being ex-football
I don't think
players.
our careers are long enough.
Yeah.
And then I don't think we're old enough. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't, yeah.
So those thoughts don't even enter your thoughts at all?
No.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So, man, let's keep it on football for a little bit, man. It's a lot going on in football. All the rumors are going around of who's drafting who we gonna trade in for the draft. 5 or 6 trades, and we don't know what happens until that day, man. But there's some talk about OBJ from the New York Giants possibly moving, possibly coming to the Browns or possibly wanting to go to the Rams. Is the Rams the destination franchise right now? We've seen Dominic Sue, just signed a 1-year, $14 million deal. They just moved to Los Angeles last year. They got their young quarterback out there. Is the Rams the new destination franchise?
I'm going back to Cali. Absolutely it is, man. It's the new old place that everybody wants to be. We saw the Showtime Lakers do it. Just being a destination where a bunch of guys wanted to be and come and enjoy the fanfare and enjoy what they got going on, the warm weather, the beautiful women, the pristine beaches. And
what about that coach with that great offensive mind, Chris? Is he that great offensively?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna get to the football stuff too, Pop.
So but he's a big part of it. What he can do creatively.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you just look at the just the surgence of Ty Gurley and how he came on, and not only that, but it's one thing you see a lot of teams, they get these pieces, talented pieces that have been productive in other places, and then they don't kind of come on as strongly as you like. I think of guys like Jimmy Graham when they went to Seattle. It took some time early for him to get integrated, and even still as a whole, he didn't shred it the way that they kind of thought that he might or wanted him to. And you've seen that with a bunch of guys. The guy comes, he's got talent, he's been productive, in the past, but it just doesn't seem to work as well. That's not something that you're going to see out in L.A. Buddy's a genius out there on the offensive side. He's a real guru at it, and he knows offense. I think he knows his playmakers and his guys at a all-time high level, and I think he's one of the best in the business right now at putting guys in the position to do what they do well and do what they do best to make the plays, make the biggest plays. And Ty Gurley has been a huge beneficiary of that. And look for guys like Jared Goff and all of those playmakers out there to just continue to feed off what that guy knows.
Hey, one quick question for you guys, and I leave the football to you guys. Were you surprised at his success at that young of age?
The coach?
Yeah, the coach. Wasn't he 33?
Sean McVay,
Yeah,
we're talking about Sean McVay,
at
head
33
coach for the Los Angeles Rams.
Were you surprised at his success?
No.
Okay. Why not?
For one, it's an innovative time and age, and I think that sports. We just got done talking about the bearing that technology has had on sports and how it's officiated and referee. Well, let's talk about how it's coached. And, not only that, but how it's managed and how guys evaluate players now and pick players. Like, I think numbers has a huge part to deal with it, whereas you used to kind of just sit in the dark room and watch hours of film. So much of that information is now compounded to numbers on the spreadsheet. And that's exactly the way the game and things are being evaluated. And Sean McVay, being a young guy, I'm not saying that that's what I'm not going to lay all of the success that he's had, you know what I'm saying, at the beckon of that. But I will say that I think just being a young guy, understanding the times and understanding how to implement the new information and how to implement the new ways of coaching, I'm sure that he would go ahead and agree with me that that's been a huge part of his success. And then not only that, but when you me having been a football guy, a lot of times football guys in high school, you end up being coached. Somebody's going to be a young guy, whether it's an assistant coach or a coordinator. Somebody's going to be, that guy not too far removed from playing college ball or maybe even super young, and they might not be that far removed from having played their high school ball. And they more in tune with how to talk to you, motivate you.
He was a wide receiver at Miami, Ohio University.
Sean McVay?
Yeah.
So he's a guy who's played the game. You know what I'm saying? He's played the game, and that always helps, and that just speaks to what I'm saying. Oftentimes, you see young guys be more players, coaches, and I think that's like they even talked about it with Pete Carroll out in Seattle. Like when you have that culture and guys just feel like you get them and you want to try to understand them and you're willing to let them be themselves. It just you get the most out of guys in that way. So I can just see that in Sean McVay. I see the way his guys kind of gravitate to him and the way they play for him. He's definitely got their ear.
So I know it's kind of early now, but the way you're very high of Sean McVay and the Rams. Do you see him competing for a Super Bowl this year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they in position to compete for a Super Bowl this year. I think they're gonna try to shore up a few things defensively. More importantly, more of that back end. That's what I would try to do. I mean, we seen offensively what they've done over the past few years, but I wouldn't let that defense fall to the wayside because it's gonna be time to start paying some of those guys. They're going to be coming off those rookie contracts, and some of them who've been excelling, they're going to be in line to get a few dollars. So I think I would re-up the defensive end because that's what they got started on. They're in good standings right now with Jared Goff. You got a few years. What was last year? Was that his second year last year?
Yeah.
So this is his third year, but I mean.
Really his second year because he sat his whole rookie year.
Okay. So, he's somebody who going to be in line, but you prepared to give him his money. You already know that. But if you could re-up those defensive playmakers, get a fresh new class of defensive playmakers in and start getting groomed and getting ready to be plugged and played into that defensive scheme, I think that takes and relieves some of the pressure of some of the guys that you will inevitably have to sacrifice to ultimately sign a guy like Goff to a long-term contract in the near future.
Hey, quick question. I mean, what was this guy, Chris? More innovative? Was he?
I think he was more innovative. I think he was more energetic. I think he was just
a player's coach.
Yeah, he's a player's coach in the league now. You see a lot of that in the NBA, but that's the NFL where the culture kind of it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not a players' league.
So his offense was full of new innovation stuff the NFL hadn't seen before. What made his? From what I hear, what an offensive genius he was. What did he do exactly that made his offense so?
I'm gonna go ahead and call it what I saw. Mm-hmm. I mean, we saw Sammy Watkins kind of struggle with the Bills to really, just come full bloom. We know that he's a guy with a lot of talent, a lot of ability. I saw him kind of go there and be, more productive than he had those last few years with the, with the Bills. You saw him be more productive around more talent.
Gurley too, man. Gurley wasn't no pass catcher, this first couple of years with
So is this guy's schemes, his innovations? Is that what offensive innovations? Is that what made him special?
Yes, it's his schemes and his innovations to employ the optimum usage of all his weapons. Okay. Everybody that he has, he knows how to get them going.
He knows
how to
get them implemented. He's attacking. He's not just attacking 5-10-yard plays.
You gotta really watch and check him out, man. He's got a very fresh, electrifying approach to offense.
Nobody's doing what he's doing.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that. I think Sean Payton has, he's kind of like he reminds me of a young Sean Payton. Okay. Younger Sean Payton. Sean Payton was out. I mean, we've seen guys kind of come with this new offensive energy, but I think it's levels to it. And I think Sean McVay is just the next level. We saw Sean Payton come in and do some new things, and now we're kind of seeing another young guy come in and do some new things. I mean, we just see that every now and again. These guys, they watch film and they become bright, and, they bring it to the NFL. The best of them get to the NFL, and every now and then it's a coach that kind of transcends a little era. That's what we're seeing right now with Sean McVay. But, yeah, I definitely think for the next 5 years that look for them to be a team in the mix, and just deeper and deeper into the playoffs until they ultimately make the big game.
Well, it's kind of interesting in the NFC West right now. You get to see he hit it out.
Yeah, he just hit it out.
We got the Indians on right now,
Grand slam home run.
Oh yeah,
Yonder
first home run.
Alonzo.
Yeah. Alonzo hit it.
Just when y'all
Got him hitting down in the order against the left-hander, but he started him against the left-hander. This is a guy who's, didn't hit left-handers that well, but Francona had said that he'd play him against some left-handers. He just batted him down in the order, and he just hit one out. Grand slam. Go Tribe.
Go Tribe. We have 4-zip, by the way. Oh, that's his third career Grand Slam, too, so you know. Yonder Alonzo, number 17 for the Tribe.
Yeah, he hit that off a left-handed pitcher.
Well, back to football. Did you with the and right got the next one right out of there. The NFC West, man. You know, you got the Seahawks. You know, they lost a lot of their guys. You got the San Francisco looking like they're going to be a team to make a run. Do you see the Rams or the 49ers? You know, winning the NFC West. You know, a couple years ago, you know that was the toughest division in football. You know, I mean, I'm a little biased. AFC North is always the toughest division. But the NFC West, you know, had some heavy hitters between Arizona. You had 49ers. You had the Seahawks. And can't think of the fourth team right now.
Is it
the Rams and the Rams. You know, the Rams had a tough team before they got their quarterback just because of defensive. You know, who's the best team in NFC West right this year?
I'm going to still say the Rams. I
Okay.
think we're just – because to me, they're building on – and obviously – San Fran is as well. You know, this accumulative situation for them too with Jimmy G, and you know they gave him that money and they committed to him, and they've put some pieces around him. They've grabbed some guys. They can end up getting Sherman as well, right?
Yeah.
So you know they've definitely they've added. You know they probably thus far probably had the biggest offseason as far as just grabbing the names that's highest on the list. And, you know, they checked a couple boxes. And I think they in a good position.
Hey, Chris, quick question. Me not being the football guy you guys are, how does he parlay 5 games into that kind of contract? How does that happen?
I think it's the need in the league. Like you say, simple commerce, because at the end of the day, this business, and one of the main schools of thought is supply and demand. And the demand for NFL quarterbacks and NFL type passer, the caliber of Jimmy Garoppolo, is at extremely high level. It's at a prime.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And shout out to his agent because he basically just parlayed the value, you know what I'm saying, into a tremendous contract. And it's all about it's all about your agent's mouthpiece at that point. And you know, Jimmy G was somebody he capitalized and he played big, you know, in every situation. First in New England, then he went to San Fran, did everything right, got on the field, and did some more things right. So, I mean, obviously that gave him all of the leverage. Like, because the teams need guys like that. And if you can make somebody even think that you're a franchise guy, it's a huge payday in it for you.
It doesn't take much experience, huh?
No, not experience.
Am I talking about 5 or 6 games?
You just gotta show upside. You gotta show upside and potential. Yeah, that's all we talking about, Pop. Yeah. 5 or 6 games. You know, just last year. You know what I'm saying?
Did you expect him to get that kind of money?
I did.
Okay.
Like I said, man, the demand is there, and he isn't the first dude. Like, we've seen guys get paid the ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, I think we talk about me and Des. We talk about Sam Bradford all the time, like somebody who has just completely lit the NFL up for every penny. You know, I don't think he's been worth half of it. But, I mean, he's gotten the money, and it's because, I mean, like I said, NFL-level passers, especially if you're conventional pocket passer and you can be productive in this league and you can win in this league, those guys are at a premium right now. So, if you don't do nothing else, you're going to pay them.
All right.
Man,
that's my question.
At 867 consecutive games, man, LeBron James
Woo!
has officially passed Michael Jordan.
There goes that man.
Of scoring 10 points, at least 10 points. Is that a big I guess career?
Big deal.
Yeah, for him.
Pops, I want to hear this with you because, I mean, you know, you really lived through that Jordan era and you really seen that, you know what I'm saying? So I can't wait to hear what you got to say about this.
I guess it is. I don't know if it's as big a deal as they made it out to be, but I guess that is an accomplishment, scoring in double figures that many games. I guess him, Kareem, and now him, Kareem, and Mike were the three that did it, and I guess it is kind of an accomplishment to do double figures all those games. It's an attest to his durability.
Exactly.
It's a fact to put points on the board. I mean, because hey, he could have got hurt in the first quarter of one of these games, and he didn't. So, I thought about it. I said, man, why did they make sense? But I guess it is kind of an accomplishment, and big ups to Bron. He got Mike on that, and I think I don't know if it's a big deal, but it is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, it's a test to his durability for one.
And
Does
his
it get him any
longevity in the
closer to
game.
being the GOAT? Does it get him any closer to being the GOAT?
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, let me say this. I think it's a big deal, and I think it is. It's a step towards trying to be the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? And here's why. When you a streak for one, that's tremendous. That's a lot of games. We talking about over 10 seasons, over 800 games. That's over 10 seasons. You know what I'm saying? In the NBA, consecutive games, scoring over 10 points. I mean, I understand that's not a whole lot of points, especially not in today's offensively orientated game. But like you said, to me, it represents a consistency and being a staple and at a productivity level and a greatness level. I think at some point.
Well, it ain't not to cut you off, my bad, but it ain't easy to average 10 points in the league.
Right.
Right. A lot of guys don't, can't do that.
And not just that, but I think ultimately what makes it more significant is the fact that he's in a position to keep it going for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't feel like the talent being an issue for him to average 10. It would have to be, maybe finally his durability lets up. And, and even still in that situation, it would have to be, where, he starts the game and isn't able to finish it.
Hey, and that brings up an interesting question. Now, should he decide to go for 82 this year, he's not going to be able to just come in and play 3 minutes and sit down. As we get toward the playoffs, he's probably going to have to score, at least play until he scores 10 points, right?
Well, I don't think he cares about it, to be honest. I think that's a record he broke on accident. I don't think he's going to.
So you don't think he's going to try to keep it going?
Something that he broke
I would imagine
accident.
he's going to try to keep that going, though, right?
Yeah, he's going to keep that going.
No.
Yes, he is, Dad.
He's going to keep
If
it
he
going.
wants to play all 82 games this year, you don't think he's going to try to score 10 points in those games?
I figure he'll probably put about 50 games. He gonna definitely put about 50 games between him and Mike. Because nobody even close to Mike. So he put about 50 games in between
why not put
to
this
really
year
own
and next
it.
year? He's going to try to really put that out of sight.
Well, I guess can they not rest at all now this year because of the rule change? Like, usually,
but still, you can set him out.
I mean, you
played all
can
the
still
games.
set him out, and I mean he LeBron.
But Dez,
why
bet you
play
he
10
scores
minutes?
10 points in those games before they pull him. In other words, he's not going to do what Tristan did. Remember when Tristan tried to keep his sleeper?
That's different, though.
Yeah.
But I don't see him chasing no record or trying to extend a record is what I'm saying.
Well, do you think he's going to try to play 82 this year?
Well, why would I don't
think
see
he's
him
gonna-
playing 3 minutes.
He's gonna
and
try to
sitting.
play 82 this year for the sake of the MVP.
You see him playing 3 minutes and sitting?
I said I don't see that. Like,
That's
why?
what I'm saying.
Okay.
He's going to score them 10 points, right?
Oh, if he plays, yes.
Okay.
I think he's gonna play to win, and I think that if the game gets out of reach for the opposition, then but he probably have 10 before that situation occurs anyway.
Well, my point is this. He's not going to play 2 minutes and sit down.
Yeah, no, I don't think he would do that anyway.
Why would, that's what I was saying. Why would he do that?
Yeah.
If he either's not playing this game or
Just
he
so
is playing.
he said so he can just say, "Oh, I played in all 82 games." But I don't.
But that's something he's never done.
Yeah, but I don't think people would respect it as much. I mean, why do it like that if you play at 81 the right way? Why wait till you get to the 82nd one and try to?
So your point is, if he plays 82, he's going to play a significant amount of time in that 82nd game.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like you said, he's gonna play the game to win.
Okay.
Now, do you think he cares about playing 82 games?
Yes.
That's what some people have said this year.
I mean, I'm not
he's
gonna
never
lie.
done it.
Yeah, it's something that he's never done.
I think the most he's
such
ever played
a
was
great
81.
player. You the kind of.
And I think his boy played 82 a couple years ago.
Who do?
Was it CP? I think a couple years ago CP played 82 games.
Was that the
LeBron's
was
never
that the
done
same
it.
year that he got hurt the first round?
I don't know.
I don't know, but regardless, I think it's something that I would want to check that box. Like, come on, man, you never played a whole season before.
Yeah, when Mike got what, 8 or 9 or 10 seasons where he played
like
82.
Said, maybe like LeBron coming up, he didn't care about it. But I think now that you getting older, like normally back then,
Because he hasn't missed a game.
He knew
this year.
I could do it. But now that he getting older, it's probably like, yeah, before I get too old, this is something I want to, as a testament, to my body, to my durability.
So you
I'm
both
play
think
a whole season.
You think he's gonna play 82 this year?
Man, he's gonna play 82 this year.
Okay.
I think he would have been sat out if he wasn't. If that wasn't something that he was consciously trying to do. I think once you get the All-Star break and he like, man, this the final stretch. Such and such games left. Yeah, if I got the opportunity, I'm gonna play all 82 games.
But
I think that's what it is.
They rest guys on them last couple games, man. Right before the playoffs.
So you don't think he's going for 82 days?
I mean, I can see why y'all say that, but I guess
and
as a coaching staff, what happens with the coaching staff?
We're going to be playing for positioning.
You think he would?
For matchups. We're going to be playing till
What if they're fighting for that third spot, Chris?
Well, then, yeah.
Okay.
Well, then, yeah.
And we're going to be.
I didn't know. I guess that's why I was saying if we're not fighting for no position, what about if the coach is like, I don't care where we end up, LeBron, you're sitting. We want to keep you healthy.
Yeah.
That's a coach decision, ain't it? I know LeBron can
LeBron is own coach,
that.
though. Yeah. Like LeBron is own coach. Who and not to mention it's not even Lou right now. Who is the dude? Larry Drew.
Yeah.
Come on, man. What is he gonna tell LeBron? He asked LeBron stuff. He don't tell LeBron nothing.
Where was Coach Lou yesterday? Was he in the stands or was he on the bench or where was he sitting?
I don't know.
I heard he was back. I didn't see though.
Yeah. Okay.
I missed the game yesterday.
Yeah, because I didn't really see where he was. I was just wondering.
Well, let's keep on the Cavs, man. Like you already know, man. We coming live from 216, man. If the Cavs get the #1 pick in this year's NBA draft, will LeBron stay?
I would think so. Especially if that meant drafting Ayton, who is supposed to be the prohibitive #1 pick.
You really like this Ayton kid, huh?
Well, not that I like him, but I'm just telling you what the scouts are saying, that he's gonna be special. I don't know if he's Embiid special.
Every
I don't
year
know how
somebody
good he's
like
special.
that though. They gotta have somebody to
but
talk about.
I think we got the #1 pick, or maybe even #2. I think that pretty much would. I think LeBron would say, "Hey, man, that's somebody I can roll with." Another potential. I don't know how many superstars are in this next draft. I don't know if there's 3. If there's 2.
Or any at all.
Yeah, or any at all. But if LeBron perceives that, hey, one of these guys and we get him,
right,
I would think that would help him come back here. Because he's got another guy he can roll with what he already has.
So, it's leverage in the situation. But like I said, it would have to be a guy to me that LeBron had identified. And I don't know if that's happened, but I don't imagine that there is. To me, that's for next year. That's for next year when guys like R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson are coming out. Shout out to that Duke class coming in. It's fully loaded. And, the top 3 guys coming out the draft, I wouldn't be surprised. If of the top 5, if 3 of them are coming out of Duke, wouldn't be surprised. That team is that talented. Just got done watching some of those boys earlier today. And, that's going to be special. But I just don't think it's that there's not even a chance to me too much. Well, there's always a chance. But I just don't see that guy who's kind of showing the signs of being a generational type player who kind of, transcends, his little draft class and all that. I just don't see that. I don't see Ben Simmons or anybody like that. I just don't see it.
Do you think that, question for both of you guys, does LeBron angle the front office to trade that pick for an established star? For maybe a Lillard?
I see that before I see him draft a player.
For a draft guy, even if it's Ayton? Suppose we got the #1 pick.
Well, LeBron has showed that he wants to play with veteran guys. And since he's been in Miami and since he came back to Cleveland, we really haven't. We gave up draft picks. We really haven't valued.
Yeah, but if you get to the finals this year with what you have, say you add a DeAndre Ayton to what we have.
No.
You think he'd still angle to get a veteran in here?
Man,
say, hey, trade that #1 for a Damian Lillard or
man,
something?
Ayton isn't a game breaker. What you got to understand is Ayton is not good enough to come into the NBA, and you think that in his first playoffs ever he would be a game.
Well, what young guys are though? You rarely see a rookie. Oh man, he had a great playoffs. Not as a superstar in the league. You may see a rookie.
I mean, he wouldn't have to be a superstar, but I don't even think he can contribute to the way like a Jaylen Brown did.
So you're telling me Ben Simmons won't be effective this year?
Ben Simmons,
Mm-hmm.
man, Ben Simmons is way better than DeAndre Ayton. What are you talking about, Pop? He's a much better player than him.
You act like you can't be young and be great in the playoffs your first year.
Well, I tell you, Ben Simmons won't make it to the finals this year.
Magic, I guess you could.
Simmons won't make it to the finals.
Yeah, it was a guy, Magic Johnson. He didn't do it
right.
too bad.
If your name is
that
Magic.
was in the '80s. There, we talking 30 years ago.
Right.
What you talking about, man? That's not,
Hey,
name a rookie recently.
As Lindor turned on the burners to get their safe off the bunt.
And he played with Kareem that year. That wasn't the year that Kareem got hurt, was it?
Yeah, it was. Kareem got hurt and he started at the 5 as a rookie.
That was the same year?
Yep.
That was the year.
I'm mistaken. Man, if y'all coming from Cleveland, man, how do y'all feel about if LeBron left again? Would y'all be mad?
No.
Were y'all mad the first time?
Once LeBron won the championship, he locked himself into the Cleveland Hall of Fame.
I'd be salty as heck.
He did everything that he had to do. Sure, you're gonna be upset, but now I understand what he trying to put himself in the best position to continue to chase his career goals. But he definitely did the right thing coming back home and getting one for the city. Man, it made me feel like everything that he had did before then was for that.
Well, Chris, in your mind, he can do no wrong anyway. I'd be salty as heck if he left again.
Chris, were you upset when he first left?
Sure, I was. I wasn't upset that he left though. I was more upset at how he did it. Nobody ever wants to see a franchise guy, a once in a generation type player like LeBron lead their franchise. That's always gonna hurt your feelings. But at the same time, I did see how our front office and Dan Gilbert were definitely leaving some things on the table. I don't think that they had sold out in all situations and broke the bank in every situation, trying to put the best help around them.
And don't forget the locker room drama, too, which we don't want to get into.
Right.
But I think that was a huge factor in him leaving.
People in Cleveland definitely know. We very
what
familiar.
we talking about, yeah.
So, there was that as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it was, there was just a room. There was need for some change in some ways and some fresh scenery. I think he had to go and he had to learn some things about the game and even about himself and about how to win. I think he had to get better. And I just don't think we had the coaching and everything in play, for that. So he did. He had to leave. He had to upgrade himself. But then he ultimately came back and he upgraded the city. And I never, could never talk down on him for that. Legend forever for that, and I know my city for the same way.
What does it mean though to be on one team your whole career? We seen Mike do it, we seen Kobe do it. Does that mean anything to y'all? Who else did it? Bird did it.
Mike didn't do it. He wouldn't play for the Wizards.
Man, are we counting that? Are we counting the Wizards?
Kobe and Isaiah did it. Mike didn't do it.
Well, Bird did it.
Yeah. Like I said, I think when you a player the caliber of LeBron, I think it's almost going to do something for his resume, do something different. It's going to be a different type of props that they do give him because he was like, man, I was able to go to multiple situations, and in all of those situations, I was able to be a nucleus player that you could build around and that I could create a championship caliber situation or able to make one of those situations around myself as a centerpiece. And that's something that not a lot of guys can do oftentimes. But a lot of guys are in a situation where, a certain front office, a certain, person, whoever it may be. Tim Duncan did it as well, by the way. Y'all didn't mention him.
Yeah, Tim did it.
But, maybe
so did David Robinson.
It's a certain owner or somebody who really believes in you and you kind of rock out with them until the end. But, to be able to go to different places and play for different franchises and have the type of pull and the juice that it takes, to be a nucleus player and be the building block and ultimate foundation for, not just a game plan and how y'all going to do things on the court, but off the court as well, I think that LeBron is just that ultimate franchise guy. I think he's a franchise maker or breaker, depending on if you got him coming or going.
Well, why does he get the pass, Chris? Because he won a championship?
No, I don't. Well, yeah, for me personally, that's why he gets the pass.
So whatever he does,
first of all, this business, though. I'm not about to, and I'll never forget that. One thing that I know is that these guys they're people just like us with families and personal interests and a whole lot going on outside of what jersey that they actually doing their job for. So I never get it confused, and I fully expect and I want a guy to do what's best for him at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, these franchises got no allegiance to us. And ultimately, if you fortunate enough to have a superstar play for your team, don't ever take it for granted, man.
So it wouldn't bother you a bit if he left?
It wouldn't bother me a bit if he left.
Oh,
like I said, I would like to see him do it the right way.
I thought that was your boy. Why would you want him in another uniform?
I don't want him in another uniform, but you asked
well,
me
why
if
wouldn't
I'm
it bother you if he was
him?
in another uniform?
Man, would I be upset? Sure, but am I going to be mad at LeBron? No, that's all I'm saying. Would I be upset at the loss? Absolutely. But am I mad at LeBron? Like, you shouldn't have left? No.
Were you mad at him when he left before?
Absolutely.
You said,
but like I said, it's about how he did it, not necessarily what he did.
Okay.
All right, I'm just going to name off some stats for y'all, man. And y'all tell me what sound better. I ain't going to put no names on it. We can talk afterwards, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all tell me what sound best, man. We got player A, who has played 70 games this year, averaging 27 points, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, and 10 rebounds. Y'all like the stats? That sounded good to y'all?
What was that, 27, 10, and 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. How many blocks? 1.5 blocks a game?
Yep.
Dang, that sounds real good.
We got player B at 28 points, 2.5 blocks, 1.5 steals, 2.3 assists, and 11.1 rebounds. He has played 68 games this year. We got player C with 66 games, 30 points, 8.7 assists, 1.8 steals per game. Then we got player D, played 75 games, averaging 28 points, 9 assists, and 8.6 rebounds. What's your thoughts on those stats, man? Any player that stood out to y'all?
I was about to say you left out some stats for player D. What was the blocks looking like?
1 block and 1.5 steals per game.
He blocks a shot a game?
Who?
The last guy.
That last one
One
sounded
to
like
play.
Andy.
No, the last one was Bron.
Oh,
AD was the guy with the 11.5 and the 2.5 blocks.
okay.
And then Harden was the guy
So I
with
guess
30
I didn't hide
points.
it very well. You guys pretty much know the stats.
Harden was the guy with 30 points a
Yeah, I
game, and
knew
the other
that.
guy was Giannis, I'm pretty sure.
So the Greek Freak was player A, averaging
he was the first
27
one you
points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, and he claims he should be the favorite for the MVP.
You got an argument. I think he rounds out his game well with 1.5 steals and 1.5
one thing
blocks.
he didn't include is the team's records.
Well,
It's
I
very important.
Which I don't have on me right now. I can look up pretty easily.
We all know that Houston's won the most games out of all those teams you won, and that's why I'd have to say that James Harden deserves it over. As much as I love Bron, I have to give it to because I think Bron, and Chris, you're not going to want to hear it because it's an uncomfortable truth for you. But Bron had
not an uncomfortable truth.
Had a 15-game period or a 12-game period in what was that? Right before
January,
the trade,
wasn't it?
Yeah, in January, where he was pouting a little bit, Chris, and he wasn't giving it his all. He was pouting a little bit. He was in his feelings, and you know it, Chris. You know how your boy Bron can
I
act.
agree. When you're the ultimate star, it's a certain attitude,
Yeah,
and persona.
he was
that
tired of that
inevitably
locker
comes with
room. He wanted some more talent behind him. Once he found out the trade was taking place, Bron's play perked up, and there we go. But, Chris, you can't ignore those 12 or 13 games when Bron was pouting.
That sounds like
I'm
a
not
power
gonna
move to
lie.
me, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. I don't expect
a power
I don't
move?
expect Pop to understand it in
I
today's,
know, I know. So he's got a right, because he's LeBron, he got a right to pout for 12 or 13 games.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm sure when you go to work every day, you ain't got the best of attitudes.
Yeah, and imagine if it actually mattered. He'd probably really be having a fit in there. Imagine if you were at your job, if you pouted, it actually would change something.
These two guys got more rope with LeBron James than anybody I've seen in my life, man.
I
He
can
can
be as
pout,
tough
he
as
can
anybody.
lose
Look,
games.
us and all the owners in the league and
He
all
can
the
lose
coaches in the
games, He can
league
pout for 12
and
or
all the
13 games.
players in the league.
Whatever he does is fine with these two young guys.
And everybody else, too.
No,
And
that's not
everybody
right.
else.
But he's human, Dad. You act like he can't. If things is going on, there's obviously things going on in the locker room. That we had to get rid of some.
Oh,
of those
no, that's
guys.
because the players of yesteryear, they were always perfect.
No, I didn't say they were perfect. I never saw Mike pout and lose
Man,
ball
I
games.
heard Charles Barkley tell a kid he would kick his ass. Man, they used to. Who was that? Oakley would fight and drink.
Mike one time did though to prove a point. Didn't shoot. He did. He did. I think they said, I don't know if it was a playoff game. Same stuff Kobe pulled that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Mike did that one time too because they said he was shooting too much.
So
but I don't know if it was a playoff game. But I think he only did it for one game.
You don't have an issue with that?
One game.
You don't have an issue with that?
Yeah, I have an issue when any of them pull that kind of stunt. I think Kobe did it in a playoff game. I don't know if Mike did it in a playoff game, but when they pull that kind of stunt, you cost your team, especially in the playoffs. You can't be costing your team no playoff game because you're trying to prove a point.
You never question it again after that, though.
Yeah, okay. But Mike ain't pouted for no 12, 13 games, though. Man, Mike wasn't having
Mike
that.
didn't punch guys in the face. We're yet to hear anything like that about LeBron. Mike has punched guys in the face.
He has.
So don't tell me about decorum.
So what y'all going with James as the MVP this year, man? No
James
question.
as the MVP, man.
What James? James Harden or LeBron James?
James Harden.
Yeah, James Harden for me.
You got to give it to James Harden. He
All
didn't
right,
power
man.
for 12 or 13.
I want to know if
Plus
y'all
the
want
30 ball, man. That's impressive. That's the last thing that I feel like
they
is
got
really
the best
hard
record in the league,
for guys
man.
to do.
You got to go with James.
Yeah, and they had a 30 ball with the
But
best
LeBron
record
James
in the
is
league.
the best player in the game.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's compare James to one of my all-time greats, man. All-time favorite players, man. A Hall of Famer, I believe, as of last year. Allen Iverson, man. We brought this topic up last week, and I said, hey, man, we got to get the stats, man. I don't think y'all understand how great of a player Allen Iverson was, man. Rookie of the year, coming into the league, man. The difference between him and James Harden was he was a starter. He was the star player of his team coming into the league, averaging 24 points and 8 assists, and he continued to do this, for his career. I mean, we talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 straight seasons of averaging 20 plus points a game. That's a long career.
Yeah, that's of excellence.
Of excellence. He played a total of, I didn't realize this, 16 seasons. Obviously he slowed down, at the end of his career. I didn't realize he played a couple games with Toronto.
Did he?
Yeah. Denver, Detroit, Memphis, and Philly. Those were kind of, he ended up at Philly, his last season. That was just out of respect, man. But what Allen Iverson did for the game, man, I don't see how y'all can put James as a better as y'all see as a better player. Hold on, man. Because before y'all gotta like
you done got into some different stuff though, talking about what he did for the game and all of that. Nobody said that, man. We talking about effectiveness in today's NBA right now. If we had to pick somebody, that's the question that I responded to. You talking about contributions to the game and all of that different type of stuff. That's totally different. And I think pound for pound, I think AI, you could argue, I think even LeBron said it a couple years ago, you could argue that he's the greatest player ever. Especially with the injuries and things that he was able to persevere and come back from and still be a top tier player.
Mm-hmm.
I think that speaks even more, to his greatness. So no, I'm not gonna get all personal with that. But if we talking about one guy to kind of build a team around for today's NBA, or who we think is the most effective scoring weapon or just offensive weapon, period, in today's NBA, for me at 6'6", how 220, 230, with all the bells and whistles that you could want, is James Harden. From a size standpoint alone almost. But, I mean, that boy's outside jumper off the dribble especially, I think it gives you just as much ammo as anything.
Mm-hmm.
The size being the biggest thing for me. But to me, his 3-point shooting and especially what is he almost like Curry in the pick and roll, the way he can bring you out deep and give you that maybe 3 feet beyond the 3-point line. He can run that pick and roll and he can knock down that shot. Like even at 3 feet beyond the arc, if you go under that screen, he can hit that shot. And I mean, that's something that AI didn't quite have in his game.
Did y'all like that catch right there?
I missed it.
I'm going with AI, Chris. I'm going to differ, man.
So
Give me Mr. Iverson in D'Antoni's offense.
Well, how tall are y'all saying AI was? Y'all saying 6 feet?
Give
I'm
me
not even
Mr.
saying that.
Iverson.
5'10".
5'10", man. We talking about a dude over a half a foot taller than him.
Give me
We ain't
Mr.
talking about how
Iverson.
much more he weighs.
Give me Mr. Iverson.
Well,
when
you know
when you
what I'm
ever
saying?
see him disappear
Lucky
in a playoff
lefty.
series?
Lucky lefty.
When you
Shooting
ever
the
see-
unorthodox style.
When you ever
Come
see
on,
AI
man.
disappear in a playoff series? Give me a break, man. Give me AI.
Give
me AI.
When you ever seen AI win a ring, though? Ultimately, it's the same
Well,
thing.
what, Harden got a fistful of rings?
No, he don't got a fistful of rings.
I
but
guess
as
he
far
gonna
as
get
I'm
one this
concerned,
year, huh?
He can't finish no worse than AI. 0 rings for AI. 0 rings for Harden.
Chris,
y'all on the same level.
Give me Mr. Iverson and D'Antoni's system. Come on. But James is a
No.
bad boy.
I'm telling you right now, Iverson couldn't shoot it good enough for D'Antoni's system. It would have been a disservice to what it was.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
Come on, man. AI would average 40 in D'Antoni's
it
system.
sure would.
40 and 8. 40 and 8 easily.
He'd average 40. I'm with Dez. He'd have at least 35 in his system. Allen Iverson in that system.
if he able to take every shot, but not if he was playing alongside Chris Paul, he wouldn't average 30.
No.
He wouldn't. If he couldn't, I'm not talking now. You talking about in this system, but yeah, do he got the same guys around him from Philly where he got to take every shot? Because if it's any talent around him, I'm telling you that ain't how it's gonna go. Now, that ain't how it's gonna go.
Give me Mr. Iverson, Chris.
I mean, I don't know. To me, and then especially that's just another point I just made for myself. The way Harden has showed that he can play with talent. First coming up, as more of a role player. And OKC coming off the bench, orchestrating the second unit, and then now that he is the man and he is the top dog, he's come and made the perfect amount of room for Chris Paul to come in and do his thing. And I think he's very happy. I don't think there's any doubt that he won't sign back with Houston, even with LeBron, potentially being out there and all the different, prospects that have been put out there where he might go. I just think he's done an awesome job moving right alongside and integrating not just another superstar, but another ball-dominant superstar at that. He gives you so much versatility, being able to catch and shoot as a catch-and-shoot guy, and then he's still, like I said, he's got all the bells and whistles, pick-and-roll maestro.
So,
You know
Chris,
what I'm saying?
Iverson averaged 26 and 7 playing with a all-star and Carmelo in 07-08 with Denver, and he played in all 82 games.
Okay,
Hey,
and
Chris.
what about the playoffs?
hey, Chris, tell me
I
this.
don't have that information on me.
Chris,
right now.
tell me this. Regardless of who
What the point I was
those two
making
are
with
out
that,
there.
though, Dez, is that they fell short of the finals.
Hey, Chris,
A
those two are out
championship
there.
or even the finals.
And
So-
you got a franchise. You're a franchise GM. I'm a franchise GM.
Okay.
We're not saying what franchise. You got Harden and Iverson out there in their
Give me
prime.
Harden.
Who you take? You taking
Give
Harden?
me Harden.
Still taking Harden.
Yes, in today's league, this is still today's league, right?
Oh,
Any league. These guys can play in any league.
Any,
but I'm just saying, I think
anytime.
the pace, and then not only that, but more threes. I feel like Iverson, the best thing about Iverson is he lived in the paint. He could be in the paint at any given time, and then he lived at the free throw line.
Yeah. Well, both these guys get to the free throw line.
And that's what I'm saying. To me, James Harden, he's so good. He kind of cancels out what Iverson does best. But here I am, and I'm still a tremendous ball handler, facilitator, and three-point shooter, both off the dribble and off the set shot. Like,
So you
I can
take
be
Steph-
off.
you-
Harden's ability, Harden's off-ball prowess and size make him a clear-cut decision for me over Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson is a ball dominant. Some could say he a ball hog. He been accused of that more than once. You know what I'm saying?
This is coming from a Kobe fan now, y'all.
Hey, Chris.
One thing about
take
Kobe
Steph-
though,
Chris.
Kobe knew how to pass and had a delicate enough balance of passing and shooting to win championships and play alongside
Hey,
the
Chris,
most dominant
Chris,
player
Chris,
ever in
Chris,
the
Chris,
game.
And
quick
then ran him out
question.
of town.
You take Steph over AI too?
No,
Do you take Kyrie over AI?
no.
But you take Harden over AI.
Is it solely
Harden
on height?
is a
it
6'6"
right?
point
Is it
guard.
solely on height then?
Yes, and
Okay.
size is a lot of my argument. Is size 80% of my argument? Absolutely. But it's a lot of size.
Oh, I agree
He's
with
6'6".
you. I agree.
And then he huge. He like 230.
I'm taking AI though, man. That's a
that
generational
would be
player.
a mistake.
It's a
And I'm telling
generational
you,
player, man. But
hey,
the one thing
Harden
Harden,
poured all over AI too. I'm not saying Harden can stop him, but I'm telling you, I see a 5'9" guy missing a few jumpers or something on with a 6'6" guy guarding him before I see a 5'9" guy stopping a 6'6" guy with the shooting prowess.
Man, Harden couldn't tie AI's shoes, man. Harden couldn't stay in front of AI.
Hey, don't act like Harden not the new AI dropping the way he been dropping cats.
He
Harden
is.
the new AI for real, but he's 6'6". Come on, man, and he's strong. Like, to me, Harden got all of the athletic gifts, all of the God-given stuff, the stuff that you cannot
Chris,
work
you've
for.
been overruled. AI,
Harden,
man.
no, Harden has everything that AI used to pray for. Every AI was in there drinking milk and eating vegetables, trying to get big and strong, and it just never happened for him. But it happened for James Harden, and that's all the difference.
Man, I will say, man, we gotta see James Harden the rest of his career play out, man. If
but
he fails to get a ring,
James to be huge.
But what about if he's not? What about if this year
he
he
not?
gets knocked
Then
out?
I gotta change the tune that I'm singing.
What about if he sees AD first round and get knocked out in the first round?
That's gonna change some things.
What about if he never wins a finals, man? I mean, we know why AI didn't win a finals. James ain't got no excuse.
Why? Remind me. Why is it that AI didn't win the ring when he went to the finals?
He didn't have enough around him, Chris.
Exactly.
Who was it that did? No. I mean, and like I said, he didn't have enough around him, but AI was not an easy guy to play with. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, Chris, and you know what Larry Brown said?
If
AI we're healthy, we beat LA. That's what Larry Brown said.
Who is okay? He was coaching that team, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I think he might have been right.
Pardon me if I suspect a little bias
Chris.
on his end.
Hey, Chris, I think he may have been right. If they're healthy going into that series,
shoulda, coulda, woulda. You could think and suspect all you want.
I think they
but,
beat it. I think they beat LA.
It's a Coors cold hard fact.
Because Larry Brown was going to outcoach.
They
Phil
weren't
Jackson.
healthy, and they didn't win.
Hey, Larry Brown was going to outcoach Phil Jackson.
So you agreed on AI had a
like I
greater
said, and
impact.
at the end of the day, I think it boiled down when your best guy is 6'6" and my best guy is 5'9". I'm banking on the 6'6" guy. I got Kobe over AI again. Again, man. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, I know it's not a guy's fault. It's not AI's fault. As good as he is, but I think more than anything, that's the reason why he doesn't have a championship. Not about it not being necessarily enough around him, because like I said, I think he was a guy. You would get the best out of him and the most out of Allen Iverson with not a whole bunch of talent around him. He thrived on being the guy who had to do it. He thrived on there not being any second option. He thrived on it will only go as far as I can take us. He thrived on that, and that was his game, and that was who he was.
Well, it reminds me.
I mean, don't misremember Allen Iverson now. He loved to shoot.
Hey, you remind me of a quote from Isaiah Thomas, famously. I don't know if you've ever heard this. He said, "If I'm 6'6", Mike, Larry, or Magic, none of them get rings."
But you're not 6'6". Like, come on now. You talking to an athlete who was shorter, and at the end of the day, you're not 6'6".
I mean, but that's your point, though, that Harden's taller than Iverson.
Yeah, and that right there, the quote that you just made, it should really sway you to my side to let you know how significant the height is. Did you hear what you said that like you respected Isaiah.
Oh, yeah.
So
he might have had a point, too.
Well, look, so
he
do
said
I.
If I'm 6'6", don't none of them.
Right. Hey, he said Mike in there, too.
Hey, he put Mike in there, too.
If I'm the same size as Mike, because Mike was 6'6", too. That's saying a lot.
Don't none of them get rings. That's what Isaiah Thomas
I don't know
said.
about all that, Isaiah. You might be tripping.
I don't know. He might have had a point.
No, you might get one or two more. But Mike was going to get him some rings now. 3 in a row, 2 times now. Hey, where was you at?
Well, he would have been retired by then. But his point was, if I'm 6'6", don't none of them get rings. So,
when did he retire? He wasn't part of that. He retired.
by then he had gotten hurt. Remember, he had toward the end of the thing, he was kind of beat up. Toward the end of their run. When Mike put Detroit and them out, Detroit was kind of getting a little long in the tooth.
Did he
They
play in the
legitimately
70s?
beat
Was Isaiah Thomas?
Oh, he played in that series.
I said, was he in the 70s? Like he started his
No,
career in the 70s?
No. Isaiah's first year was probably maybe 81.
And Mike started what, 80?
84.
Okay, so they around the same, generation.
Exactly. Exactly.
I misspoke though. Allen Iverson, he never played for Toronto. I read this
He
thing.
sound like Paul Pierce. If I was younger, man, you ain't nothing but 5 years older than me, man. You had your shot, you blew it.
All right, man. Y'all want to get into KD, man? You know, right now, man, KD got ejected last night or a couple nights ago from the Bucks, man. He's leading the league with 5 ejections. You know, what is y'all take on this? Is he trying to reinvent himself, or is this his true nature?
Seems to be. He wants to be a tough
Like
guy.
I said, ever since the trolling thing, ever since I found out he had that secret account trolling people over the summer, man, I said, this is an angry guy, man. This is, for some reason, he seems to be very upset. And I think some of it is he's upset with the decisions that he's made. But he just know that he can't take them back now. And I think he just, you know, like, man, I done started down this road. I do intend to finish it. But I think he's somebody, man, he just not as happy as he should be, I think. And, you know, I think a lot of that is his own doing. But Kevin Durant, the longer and longer he's around and the more and more he plays, I think, you know, he's kind of like everything LeBron wasn't in this sense. He's just not living up to the hype. And LeBron was kind of a guy, yeah, sure. Did we have to question him? You know, absolutely. And it was always going to be a point in anybody's career with those types of great expectations. Are you going to live up to it? Because everybody's going to have a point to where you great and you got great potential, but you haven't necessarily done great things yet. And, you know, LeBron definitely had that time in his career, but ultimately he's answered the bell, and he just continues to kind of, you know, be more and more satisfying as you go into his career. And I think KD is kind of a guy that's kind of like the opposite. You know, so much potential, so much greatness, so much upside, and then, you know, he kind of really lets you down when he decides to Golden State to get it done. And then, you know, kind of now, like, after, it's just an underwhelming thing for me.
Well, he had a great finals. You got to give him credit for that, Chris.
Man, alongside all of those guys, man, JaVale McGee had a great fight. He's having a great year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just, to me, like, JaVale McGee is the prime example of exactly why
he outplayed
KD,
your boy LeBron last year in them finals, didn't he?
Man, did he? Like, it's so hard to really.
Yes, he did, Chris. I think he got the best of Brian.
Man, it's hard to say when your team is that much better than mine. Like, and you got to think the way the NBA is, like, man, especially, and then not only that, but the way the Warriors play. No, man, it's so much that goes into you getting off on me, man. I'm helping, and I'm this and that and the third.
Oh,
you got
here
all this
we
shooting
go.
around you. It's not like our team's equal, and it's like, but who's better between you and I is gonna win. It just wasn't like that, man. And like I said, if it was, and Kevin thought he even had a chance going mano with LeBron James, he wouldn't have had to go to Golden State because he would have beat them.
LeBron had Kyrie in love.
Like I said, it's just a difference in opinion.
I know. I thought KG. Well, you had like KG had a big move. I think the move to go to Golden State was weak, but you got to admit he had a hell of a final.
He did.
So.
What do you
What's
think about
a hell of a finals playing
he
alongside
outplayed the best player
Kevin
in the world.
Durant? I mean, you playing alongside the game was so easy for him.
Oh.
Like, man, did you see all of them dunks? That first game, I never seen so many dunks. It was like he was training. It looked like a training commercial or something. Man, the game, yeah, when it's that easy, man, everybody looks good. See Joel and JaVale McGee, man. That's all I'm going to say. See JaVale McGee. That's all I'm going to say.
I thought LeBron could have played better against KD, man, especially defense.
Man, I think that, you know what, up against it like that, man, I thought that he.
Every time LeBron lose, man, it's always the rest of the team's fault, man.
It ain't the rest of the team's fault. I think.
Man.
So you feel like if you take LeBron off of the Cavs and the KD off the Warriors, who wins the series between the Cavs and the Warriors?
LeBron's team. If LeBron went to the Warriors, they'd win.
No, if you took both players off the teams and just had the rest of the Cavs.
Golden State will win.
Would it be a close series?
No. LeBron's different, but I think
I rest my case.
I think LeBron could have played better against KD.
He definitely could have. I agree with that, man.
You could always play better when you lose.
He could have played better the first series when we first lost. I know we was shorthanded.
Yeah.
Man, no, I thought he put it all on the line.
Oh, come on, man. The man
His
missed
second best guy was
119 shots in that series, Chris.
Come on, man.
And I realized he was by himself, but he missed 119 shots. That's missing 20 shots a game, Chris.
Man,
but I can't blame LeBron for that series.
He was taking 36,
when
37
he had
shots
to.
a game.
But he still missed them. He still missed them.
Hey, man, when them guys is all over you, that's the thing about Kevin Durant. Now, the game is made for an offensive guy. Now, if you got a team that can put you in a situation,
Chris, I would never knock LeBron from that series. That series that first series against it, because he got us there. He put us on his back by himself, but the man still missed 20 shots a game. If you miss 119 shots in a 6-game series, that's 20 shots a game. He missed, Chris.
Yeah,
he still
averaged. Did he average 40 plus that series?
I don't know if he averaged 40.
Averaged 40 plus with triple-double. No,
he ain't having no triple-double.
Yeah, he did. Pull it up.
Okay.
He to look out. I thought he did, too.
He definitely did.
That boy ain't having no triple-double in that series.
Man, if he did, it wasn't nothing but it wasn't rebound. It was an assist. If it was, he averaged
He a bad boy,
9
Chris.
assists.
But LeBron has had his moments in the finals. I keep telling y'all that. Did Kawhi and Leonard out playing?
Man, the only time that LeBron really is 2 series where LeBron really showed out on, and that was his first year in Miami when they lost to Dallas, and his last year in Miami when they lost for the second time to the Spurs. I mean, that's what it is.
Oh, my God. Next subject.
Kawhi definitely outplayed him, though. Kawhi outplayed him.
So did Kevin.
And Dirk outplayed him.
Yeah, Dirk outplayed him.
Well, he wasn't matched up with Dirk.
Well,
But he was matched up with Kawhi and Kevin. Kawhi say, "Hey man, I don't need no help. I'm checking LeBron."
Yeah, he did. That's a Hall of Fame. That's an All NBA.
And that's my point.
Defensive performance.
You couldn't do that to Mike.
That was one of the greatest.
You couldn't do that to Mike.
And that's why I say
Mike
better than Jordan. Mike better than LeBron.
He averaged 36, 13, and 9.
In what that series against
Told you.
2015?
That's a triple-double, Pops.
Yeah, I know. What did he shoot from the field, there?
Over 40 though.
Nah, 39.8. So we call that 40. We call it 40. We call it 40.
Come on, man.
78 out of one. 78 for 196. 13 for 42
Do the math,
from
Chris.
3-point
He
line.
missed 119 shots.
The difference might have been the free throws. He was 46 for 67.
Oh, my God.
That's a 68.7. Yeah, you got to do better in the finals.
Yeah, that's right. Got to do better in the finals.
68.7 from the free throw.
But God bless him for averaging 36 points. He carried us on his back, so I can't blame him for that one.
Hey, but the next best in
that
points.
boy was tired. He was at that line.
Yeah,
sucking,
no question.
sucking
No
air.
question.
He was
No,
tired.
no question.
The next best in total points was
JR or Deli?
Mozgov. In total points per game was still Mozgov, yeah.
But he's by himself. I ain't gonna lie.
I
I never knock him for that.
Is he even in the league today?
Chris?
Yeah.
But he still missed 119 shots, man. That's a lot of miss. Like they say, he didn't even shoot 40% from the field in that series.
I mean,
I'm
that
not
is
mad
40%.
About that.
39.8 is 40%.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Chris,
40%.
Chris, you talk about a man in the regular season.
Man, when you got these guys double and triple team,
and double and triple teams, you right. I won't never blame LeBron for that series because he got us there.
Man, like I said, he's been outplayed in the finals though, but it wasn't by them. He ain't never got outplayed by the Warriors in my mind. The Warriors don't do no talking, and I think they know. They know who to give the respect to. They know who the king is.
You gotta respect him, but you gotta do
know
more
who
than
the
put up
king
numbers.
is. And not only that, but LeBron put the league on notice because after Curry won that championship, they were trying to make Curry like the new face of the league, wasn't it? Like he was the top dog, and LeBron low key with his and he at first it was Curry right after he won, and LeBron etched his way right back into. Then now that it was sharing it, and now it's back to being just LeBron now.
LeBron gotta win another one though, man. He got to.
I don't think he got to.
Why not?
Because of the story. Because of the story of his career, what he did with Cleveland leaving and going to Miami to get his game up and then coming back and delivering the first championship that this storied sports city has ever won in over half a century.
Rings.
That's why.
It's about
the novel and the story of the situation.
If he goes 3-10 in the finals, man,
why is one championship enough for you, Cleveland?
Hey, and that's the biggest
why
thing.
Is one championship enough for you, Cleveland?
That's why Jordan 6
why is one championship enough for you, Cleveland? Chris, answer that question. Answer that question.
Winners. It's the
Answer that
heart
question.
pounding moments.
Chris.
It's the blood, sweat, and tears.
Chris.
It's the Michael Jordan rules. It's the bad boys clobbering them. It's the moments that you create. Getting it done.
Why is one
and
championship enough for you, Cleveland?
Significant moments.
Why is one championship enough
right
for you,
here in the land?
Clevelanders?
And hey, I'm gonna answer that question next week.
I'm waiting. No, I want you to answer it right now.
That's Pops in the back, and this is Gamepoint Podcast.
y'all ain't giving no Finals Four predictions, man. You done, man?
Chris, answer the question. The people want to know.
I predict the Final Four for the game.
Why is one championship enough for you, Clevelanders? Answer that question, Chris. The people want to know.
I'll answer that. We ain't had one in 50 years.
So that's enough?
Yes.
Why not 2 championships? Why not 3 championships? Why not 4 championships, Chris?
Dad, you was 2 years old when the last
my
championship
God.
happened, man.
You want
enjoy it.
Exactly.
You think I did enjoy it?
It still
I want to
tastes
enjoy
sweet.
another one.
It still tastes sweet.
Chris,
Enjoy
you
it,
don't want another parade in 3 months?
I still feel
Of
like
course,
a champion.
of
Chris,
course.
don't
Of
sound
course.
like it. No, because you had that parade.
And we might get a chance to get it. These boys out in Golden State keep getting hurt. I'm telling you.
Chris,
I wish the seeding was set up to where they was gonna play Houston first.
Chris, you don't want
If
another
they was gonna
championship
play
in 3
Houston
months?
first, with Curry out,
Oh, my
any
God.
games they would lose.
Young fellas, do
They
you
would
want another
lose.
championship in 3 months?
Yes, Dad. Yes.
Okay, don't
And
sound like
they
it.
would lose.
Chris got his 1 championship, and now if
and
we win
will
another
beat
one.
Houston in the final.
Hey, Chris, if we win
If
another,
Houston come out west, we gonna get another
Hey,
one.
if
And
we win
I'm betting the house on Brian.
if we win another championship
Pop,
when you're
did you hear me?
75 years
Pops,
old, then you'll be
did you hear
happy.
me? Yeah, Pops, did you hear me though?
Yeah, okay. When you're
If
75,
Houston come out the
celebrate-
West,
Oh my God.
I'm bet every penny I got on me. I'm betting it on the Cavs. to
You're
win.
thinking of the young people. They got 1 championship and they happy as heck. Unbelievable.
This guy. Hey, man, I guess, man, we spent our 21st years being a laughing stock
Right.
of sports. Can't talk to nobody.
Okay, so we'll win another one in 50 years. You guys will be happy.
Hey, that's how good LeBron is. He can
You're
come
both 75
and make it to
years
where
old.
you ain't never won
Chris,
nothing,
Chris.
and now all of a sudden you want it all the time.
When
That's
you're
how
both
good he is.
75 years old. Did he get that out of here?
He got you so
Who
entitled,
hit that
Pop.
one?
For him
He
not
just
to
hit
be
one
the
out.
greatest in your mind, he sure do got
That's
you
the same
entitled.
guy?
No, that's you.
Oh, y'all gone. All right, man, we got the Final Four tonight, man. You know, usually we record on Fridays, man, but we had to record this Saturday, man, for various reasons, man. You got Loyola Chicago, you know, the underdog playing number 3 Michigan, and then on the other side, you know, you got 2 number 1 seeds, Villanova, who's coming off a championship 2 years ago, and you got Kansas, who's been in the Final Four before,
Let me
man.
ask Pop this real quick. I didn't mean to cut you off this. How you like Brunson from Villanova? They doing a lot of specials like on him and his dad and coming up, but I don't necessarily got him pegged as a guy, you know, set for a great deal of NBA success. You know, I do know that a lot of times the best college point guards, you know, sometimes they aren't always the best guys in the league. What do you think about Jalen Brunson, though, for that Nova team?
No, he's okay. Just okay, man. But I do look for them to win it all.
That's
from
my
a
pick,
team
too.
standpoint. That's
Yeah.
your pick, too? I ain't going to lie, man. I think Kansas knocks them off tonight. Or are they playing right now?
No, that's the late game. That's the
That's
late
the
game.
late game.
8:49, I think. A weird time.
Yeah, I think Kansas knocked them off tonight, man. Just, I think at the end of the day, I think Nova is. I think they are more mature, and I think they got a more seasoned game. But I think Kansas the hotter team right now, and I think ultimately they got bigger stars. I think Malik Newman is somebody who really on the rise. I don't think he hit a ceiling yet, and I think he's gonna kind of the trend that he's been kind of setting. You know, he's been just as big a star as Devontae Graham, if not bigger, you know, headed into this tournament and playing through the tournament. I think he's going to continue that trend, and I think, you know, he's going to end up being the biggest guy. That young kid is going to end up being the biggest star for that Kansas Jayhawk team. And alongside that, coupled with the consummate star that Devontae Graham has proven to be, I think they're going to overcome, and I think Kansas is going to steal it. So I got Kansas over Villanova tonight. I'm going to disagree with y'all boys on that one. And then I got Loyola knocking off Michigan tonight. I think that, you know, as long as those boys don't shrink, I think they got more talent. And that's just a rare situation. But I just think those boys got more talent. And, you know, I'm completely and belligerently against any and everything that Michigan does athletics-wise. So, you know, forget Michigan. Go State.
I'm going to go with Michigan in that game, man. I'm going to go with Michigan.
Why? Any particular reason why?
Oh, I can't hear you.
I think they're better defensively than they've been in the past, and I think I don't know. But Loyola
they've
has
lost
impressed
a
me.
little something on offense, though, I think.
Yeah, but that
Yo,
Loyola
yo.
has impressed me. I like the way they got about 3 or 4 guys that can get theirs off the bounce. They can shoot it. They play well. I'm just going with the experience of Michigan. You know, the big game experience. Weren't they there a couple of years ago? And I don't know if the same players, but I'm
Talking
going
about
with
Trey
Michigan.
Burke.
Yeah,
Right.
how long ago was that?
Quite a while ago.
Quite
I'll
right. That was
go
a long
a
time.
while ago. Okay, well, I'm going with Beeline then. I'm going with the coach. I'm going with Michigan in that one.
All right, there it is.
Gamepoint Podcast, man. When we holler at y'all later.
Diz, we didn't hear your prediction. What's your prediction on that one?
Oh, Loyola. I'm going with Loyola.
Y'all
man.
going
I'm
with Loyola?
And I'm going with Villanova. Villanova winning it all.
All right now. So I'm going to be the only one to have it all the way right.
All right, Chris, remember, we opening up the show next week, or sometimes we got to address that one championship question. Don't duck it next week.
Gamepoint Podcast, man. Holla at you.
know,